All right, encapsulating conditionals. This is our challenge for that. You can see here we just have this sort of get loading state that passes along some string based on what's happening. It's not really important. What we're looking at here is that we have maybe some if statements that are a little complex, right? They have 3 different inputs, and you may perhaps look at this and say, hey, I could swap in a variable, or depending on the complexity, you might swap in a function to encapsulate it. Either one would do. We're going to practice a little bit here by encapsulating our conditionals in functions. Go ahead and practice writing some functions here that are going to be descriptive enough to encapsulate the logic that's in those if brackets. Were you able to do it? Let's go ahead and give it a shot. So this is saying, hey, if a user exists with the double bang, right, and it is in fact loading and doesn't have an error, go ahead and return finish loading. So how might we write that? Well, we'd have a function, and it could say has user loaded, maybe successfully. That sounds good. Here we'll just take the state object, and then we simply can return what's here. This over. In a more real world scenario, you might have something more complicated than this, but I'd probably store this in a variable, but we can do it here with our function. So has user loaded successfully, go ahead, put that in there. Very descriptive, pass the state. Cool. Now, maybe this one, we'll say user is still loading. Function is user loading. We'll pass the state here, and we'll go ahead and come. And you know what? This should also be successfully, because that leaves out this last part. We'll return is user loading successfully. And we'll use a method to that function. It's not a method because it's not in a class. Pass the state in here. Now you can see we kind of have 2 methods. One say that it has loaded, and one that it is loading. And it makes it a little bit more descriptive, as well as encapsulate some of this logic, because really what we want to do is get the loading state in these sort of subsections we've broken out.